Hi everyone, Mike Stuchiner, Master Herbalist here with Z Natural Foods. And today's video is going to be on the nutty and delicious walnut. But before we get started, there are a few things that need to be mentioned. First, for more information about me and my work, please go to znaturalfoods.com, check out my articles, videos, product descriptions, as well as my YouTube channel, A Master Herbalist's Perspective. And that's Master Herbalists with a S at the end. Secondly, we must discuss our health disclaimer. The information you're about to receive is for informational purposes only and is not intended to treat, prescribe, or diagnose specific or general medical conditions and is not to be used as a substitution for your primary healthcare provider's information, treatment protocol, or medical advice. With that said, let's get started. Walnuts. As a prized gem in the Mediterranean lifestyle, walnuts hold an exclusive place on the winner's podium for their unique taste, rich texture, nourishing qualities, and unparalleled versatility. These are not just any nuts, which you're going to find out soon, a big surprise about that, but a culinary treasure that has been cherished for centuries. Once a delicacy reserved for royalty, in many cultures, walnuts have a very rich history. The ancient Greeks, the pioneers of walnut cultivation, used them not just for food, but also for hair dye, wool, and clothing. Whether savored as a standalone snack or masterfully incorporated into your favorite Mediterranean recipes, these delicate and nourishing treats will cater to your discerning palate and elevate your culinary experience to brand new heights. For good reason, walnuts are considered a superstar and significant player in various versions of the world-renowned Mediterranean diet. Walnuts are considered a staple food in this well-researched lifestyle. Before discussing all of the benefits and impressive research information behind walnuts, here are some interesting facts and facts that may surprise you about this nutty and delicious food. Walnuts are actually not nuts. Can you believe the insanity? Walnuts are not nuts. The word nuts is actually in the name, but they're not nuts. Crazy, isn't it? We live in a crazy world. They're actually seeds. While in the culinary world, walnuts are considered nuts, botanically, they are seeds of drupes. The technical definition of a nut is a simple dry fruit with one seed in which the ovary wall becomes increasingly hard as the fruit matures and the seed remains unattached within that ovary wall. A drupe, aka stone fruit, has an outer fleshy part surrounding the shell with an edible seed inside. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what is a walnut, or what a walnut is. 99% of the United States commercial supply and 3/4 of the world trade of walnuts all come from California. Walnuts are harvested only once a year between September and November. There are more than 30 varieties of commercially produced walnuts. Walnuts are the oldest known tree fruit, dating back to 10,000 BC. And here's another big surprise. Walnuts are an outstanding food for potentially supporting healthy sleep habits. While walnuts contain a tiny amount of melatonin, around 3 nanograms per gram, and just for reference, 1 million nanograms equals 1 milligram, just to show you how tiny of an amount of melatonin this food has. A handful of walnuts contain 318 milligrams of L-tryptophan. Think about it, people. It's not just from your gobble turkey that you get tryptophan. Tryptophan comes in a lot of places. Walnuts contain 65% fat and 15% protein by weight. And while they are known for being an outstanding source of magnesium, about 125 milligrams per cup, Their star minerals are actually potassium at 350 milligrams per cup and phosphorus at 400 milligrams per cup. Think about it. Walnuts are also an excellent source of prebiotic fiber, and the walnut tree is associated with wisdom and knowledge. The wrinkled seed, notice how I didn't say nut, is remnants of the human brain. Debunking the nutty myth. Are walnuts a good source of complete protein? Let's find out. Walnuts are a good source of protein, providing 4 grams per ounce. As a comparison, beef on average is 7 grams per ounce. However, like most plant protein sources, walnuts are by definition considered an incomplete protein. In many of our extensive protein articles, we have discussed how a complete protein is actually defined. It was once believed that complete protein is a food that simply contains all 9 essential amino acids. However, modern research has taught us that these amino acids need to be in not only in adequate amounts, but in a consistent amount across all the amino acids. Therefore, a food can actually be considered an incomplete protein if one or more of these essential amino acids are insufficient, even if all 9 of them are actually present. However, when creating muscle and enzyme proteins, the body is only concerned about having all 9 of these amino acids actually present. The overall result does tend to be fairly consistent whether the protein comes from a single source of complete protein like egg and whey, or a combined source from plant-based materials. Pairing walnuts with another well-balanced protein source is not only recommended, but it's easier than you think. Combining walnuts and beans, which are another superstar in the Mediterranean lifestyle, will give your body all the ingredients it needs for creating muscle and enzyme proteins. A delicious walnut 3-bean salad doused in extra virgin olive oil, a squeeze of lemon, and a little bit of salt and pepper is a perfect and tasty way to actually achieve this goal. In a nutshell, the variety and versatility of the walnut. Why don't we call it the wall seed? That sounds bizarre, doesn't it? Your food choices versatility is critical to adhering to a healthy lifestyle. Walnuts are highly versatile foods offering a wide variety and unique spectrum of walnut flavors, from earthy and mild to robust and with a slightly sweet finish. For example, the Eureka variety has a wonderfully robust walnut flavor without the bitter undertones, making it a favorite among many walnut growers. This unique spectrum of flavors can create and bring new life to a food or recipe. Therefore, chefs and bakers worldwide agree pairing the correct type of walnuts for specific purposes is essential to gain the most out of your food and recipe experience. While there are more than 30 walnut varieties commercially produced walnuts, some of the most common are Chandler, Hartley, and Howard's. You may be wondering why so many varieties are produced. The purpose is to produce, there are actually several purposes. The first is to produce a walnut with greater vigor, and that's more referring to its growth habits. And the second is the ability to resist disease and overcome ever-changing environmental factors. As stated just above, proper pairing is critical to gain the most out of your walnut experience. Therefore, looking at flavors, undertones, and size is crucial for optimal results. Generally speaking, walnuts offer light and darker amber tones, each providing its unique flavor profile. Light walnuts have a greater stability and a mild flavor and an earthy undertone due to higher tannin levels. However, a slightly darker amber walnut have a more robust flavor and a slightly sweeter finish. Yes, it is true. The rumors are true. Size does matter, at least with walnuts and how you're pairing them, especially when looking for the best texture for your recipe. Grinding walnuts into a fine meal and adding them to a smoothie can create a creamier texture for your smoothie. While adding to soups, leaving the walnuts whole can provide a greater texture and contrast to an eating experience, especially if it's something like a smooth soup like a tomato soup. However, salads contain more texture, so small walnut pieces chopped are more appropriate to keep the texture profile in balance. Walnuts are also a superstar in the fatty acid game. And this is a very controversial topic when we talk about the idea of plant fatty acids versus animal-based fatty acids. But walnuts do bring something a little bit more unique to the table compared to what would be considered more unstable plant-based fatty acid profiles. There are two primary types of fats, saturated and unsaturated. Structurally speaking, saturated fats have no double bonds, whereas unsaturated fats have one or more of these particular bonds. A fat with a double bond is considered monounsaturated, whereas if it has more than one bond, it's considered polyunsaturated. Polyunsaturated fats are broken down into two classes, your omega-3 and your omega-6 fatty acids. An important point to understand is that while specific foods may be higher in a particular type of fat, all foods contain a mixture of saturated and mono and polyunsaturated fatty acids. Like most other nuts, or in this case, seeds, walnuts contain majority of their calories from fats, making them energy dense and a high calorie food. Walnuts are a great source and are higher than most seeds and nuts in polyunsaturated fatty acids. The most abundant one being omega-6, which is known as linoleic acid. However, this is where they bring something unique to the table. 12% of their fatty acid profile come from the omega fatty acid, alpha-linolenic acid, making walnuts a really well-balanced omega fatty acid food. Walnuts are a treasure trove of nourishment. And one of those, let's say, treasure trove of nourishment compounds or family of compounds found in walnuts are polyphenols. Polyphenols are a term used to describe the general category of compounds found in a broad spectrum of fruits, vegetables, and teas that work as reducing agents, along with other compounds known as antioxidants to support a healthy inflammation response and the body's ability to protect and repair damaged tissue caused by oxidative stress. While over 8,000 polyphenols have been identified, some of the most common are flavonoids, flavanols, and anthocyanins. The importance of discussing these various compounds allows you to more clearly understand the range and complexity of nourishment you're getting from these powerful foods. An assay that measured the total concentration of active compounds concluded that the top 50 foods with the highest level of active antioxidants were based on typical serving sizes, and one of the top foods were walnuts. Some of the others were, of course, your various berries, artichokes, brewed coffee, blueberries, cloves, grape juice, and unsweetened chocolate, which are, again, all at the top of that impressive active antioxidant list. In another paper discussing free and total polyphenols in 9 types of raw and roasted nuts, it was stated that not only did walnuts have the highest free and total polyphenols, but walnut polyphenols had the best efficiency among the nuts and also the highest lipoprotein-bound antioxidant capabilities. Finally, the following was stated in a review discussing the health benefits of polyphenols in walnuts. One of the main polyphenols is what's known as an elagitanin, or a group of compounds known as elagitanins, okay, which are hydrolyzed to release elagitanic acids, which are then converted into compounds known as urolithin A, which again have other derivatives like B, C, and D. And these elagitanins produce well-known antioxidant and anti-inflammatory bioactivity. And several studies have assessed the potential role of these against various illnesses. Therefore, walnuts and pomegranates are actually a match made in heaven. And they are both superstars in the Mediterranean lifestyle. Combining them packs a nourishing culinary punch. It's well known that opposites attract. And from a culinary perspective, the flavors of walnuts and pomegranates complement each other extremely well. The acidic sweetness of pomegranate is a perfect complement to walnuts' astringent and oily flavor. They are also both rich in the above family of polyphenolic compounds, elagitanins. This powerful compound has potentially proven antioxidant, hepatoprotective, and anti-atherosclerotic nourishing traits. It has also been shown to inhibit inflammation pathways on the action of toxic substance and is highly tolerated. One of the primary and most impressive things pomegranates were actually studied for has been their ability to protect against aging arteries and possibly reversing endothelial dysfunction. And this is why pomegranates and these powerful compounds like the elagitanic acids are really important when combined with the omega fatty acids and these same compounds found in walnuts. So to wrap this up, guys, it's really important to understand that walnuts are, or I should say wall seeds, very strange sounding, are a really powerful food and a major player in the Mediterranean lifestyle. This food does offer some very, very unique flavor profiles and fatty acid profiles. So it is a good idea to try to incorporate some of these various types of walnuts into your daily diet. This is Mike Strucina, Master Herbalist with Z Natural Foods, signing out. I'll see you next time.